Alright, now something to remember when using the gradient mesh tool. Like right now I have a stroke on this image. If you are wanting this stroke on your image, you will want to copy and paste it off to the side. That will keep your stroke. When you use the gradient mesh tool on an object or a drawing, the stroke disappears. And then we can go in and just make this one with no fill on the inside, and then we'll work on the gradient mesh tool. I'm going to start with, say, a dark color here. Another thing to remember with the gradient mesh tool is with your intended color that you want it to be on the edges, make that the primary color, and I'll show you why. Alright, so just click on the gradient mesh tool, just click inside, and then change your color, or you can use your swatches or color palette. I like to mix colors with the CMYK sliders because I'm familiar with what colors they make. Alright, so very quickly we ended up with some nice smooth gradients in here and blends, and sometimes it'll create interesting odd effects like this shape right here. Now you can go in with your direct select tool and pick these points and change them and move them around. You can even change the curve with them like this. And notice with each little thing you do like this, something new and interesting happens. See, the more you drag it out, the more exotic it gets. And sometimes it can get too much. And be careful with it because it will get away from you and all of a sudden start creating a mess, and you're going to have to undo a few times. You can add more points by going in and clicking in other areas. Let's make this area here darker and richer. There you go. And quickly you have, deselect. And quickly you have a lot of colors. Now it creates little points every time these lines intersect. Now you can go in with your direct select tool again and assign each one of these points a different color. But if you start getting too crazy with it, then it starts not making sense color wise, and I'll give you an example of that. See how you can select each one of these little points and give it a new color. Oop, I missed it. There we go. And this is why you want to start with the color that you want it to be on the edges, because you end up having to click a whole bunch of these little points to modify those colors. And every once in a while, one will show up like this, where it's just white. You guys ignore that one, or assign it a color by going back to the mesh tool and see if you can make it a point. And sometimes you just have to create a point beside it to get it to change colors. Alright, so there's the gradient mesh tool, and it allows you to create those complex gradients that will curve, that you have control over. It's a little tricky at first, and then you can always pull your stroke back over that image.